First and foremost, I'd like to just kind of go through a list of the specs. Now, I did write this down, so I will be kind of looking down at the paper here because I just didn't want to mess anything up and forget, or, you know, whatever. Just so I'm not like sitting here giving you guys false information. But anyways, the Tesla Roadster is due to debut in 2020, and the 0 to 60 time is 1.9 seconds, which is absolutely insane. And the 0 to 100 time is 4.2 seconds. And the quarter mile time comes in at a blistering 8.8 to 8.9. I did hear a few, a few sources saying that it ranges in between those two. Now, I know we're talking tenths of a second here, but, on the drag strip, that is a whole hell of a lot. It comes with a 200 kilowatt battery, and the range extends up to 650 miles. And the price tag is right at $200,000. Now, this is pretty incredible considering that, supercars that perform at that level are, this is like 1/3 of that price, which is absolutely insane. So it's just in another class of vehicle, if you're asking me. I think it's cool that we're experiencing different options, as back in the day when we had carburetors and we went to fuel injections. You have the old timers that still, oh, I want a carburetor, I want this, and I want that, screw fuel injection, whatever. But the reality of the situation is it's better. Now, I'm not saying that electric vehicles are better by any means. There are the downfalls. There are, areas where they are absolutely, they just kind of, I don't know. How am I trying to say this without offending anybody? I don't know. There's there's places where they're shit, and that would be heat. How long can it sustain that speed? So on and so forth. And that's one of my concerns with this. Like, okay, you get to that 250 mile an hour plus top speed, which I forgot to mention, but how long can it sustain that? And that's where the kind of the gray area is, if you will. I don't really know what to expect until we actually see this car and actually what it does, and somebody that's able to take it to that speed and see how long it can sustain it and hold the charge. But I guess we'll see in the future here when people get theirs and start driving them and experimenting with them a little bit. Hopefully Motor Trend or somebody does something cool with it. Hennessy, I don't know if Hennessy's into that kind of thing, but we'll see. But anyways, that's kind of just the specs of the Tesla Roadster 2.0. The first rendition of the Tesla Roadster was back in 2011. This was kind of like on a Lotus body platform, and it really wasn't a hot seller. The range wasn't all that great. Now I do have a guy that I work with. He does have one. It's a cool little car. Extremely small. I believe it seems smaller than a Lotus, but anyway, it just really didn't kick off because it was like one of the first electric vehicles, and now we're kind of in an age where it's becoming more and more acceptable, and I think it's cool. Like if you drive long distances or whatever, some people call it a pain to like stop and plug your car in, but the reality is you're stopped and going to the bathroom, grabbing something to eat for a half hour anyways. If you just stop at a Sheetz, plug your car in, half hour, 45 minutes later, you're charged, you're ready to go. Yeah, and you spent like 10 bucks on a charging station if you don't have any of the free miles that Tesla offers. Anyways, going forward, I think that it's inevitable that electric vehicles are going to be a thing of the future. It's going to be something that you're going to see predominantly on the road. I mean, geez, the Tesla Model 3, like 6 months ago, you rarely saw them. I thought about getting one before I bought my GTR, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, just because you see them all over the place. Now, that's great because, one, it's a freaking awesome vehicle. It's crazy fast, and you feel like you're in a luxury car for a starting price of like 35 grand. And I think that's quite remarkable. The sound system in it's pretty damn cool. I will admit it does have fun features in it, like the whoopee cushions if you like pranking your friends or whatever. Like the fart sound will come from one of the speakers in the back right. You can select which location it comes from. I think that's kind of cool. It has a fireplace mode. You hear the crackling, hot air starts coming out of the vents, and it's cool. It's a cool vehicle. I've never been in anything like it before. It's definitely not like your traditional car. Something to get used to was definitely the braking. You kind of let the car brake itself when the motor reverses polarity, and it kind of slows it down itself because you're getting that friction from the magnets in the motor. But anyway, I think it's something that America's going to have to deal with, and moving forward, I think it's going to be an argument such as the manual and automatic. Okay, so you have a manual, okay, more fun to drive, yes. Automatic, faster, yes. And then you get the people saying, oh, you're a moron because you can't drive a manual. Oh, you're stupid, that's why you got the automatic. No. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. If you're racing the car, whatever, there's certain times and places for things, as I believe with anything, and I believe that there's going to be a time and place for an electric vehicle, and that's just I feel like the proof is going to be in the pudding. Eventually, it's going to be refined. It's going to be, you know, streamlined, and to the point where electric vehicles are going to be better than gasoline vehicles. I give it probably 20 years, and gas cars will be obsolete. Not obsolete, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's going to kind of weasel its way out of there without us even knowing about it. I mean, Porsche's following suit, Lexus, Audi, all those manufacturers are starting to morph into an electric vehicle, and some of the lower levels of like Hondas and whatnot, they're starting to move in that direction. But I think it's a cool thing. I prefer the gasoline car just because there's more to do with it. There's more modifications, there's more tinkering you can do, whereas an electric vehicle, you're kind of restricted. And that's just kind of my thoughts and opinions on the electric vehicles. I think that they're going to have their time and place. I think eventually I will own one. And I almost bought a Model 3, so I'm not sitting here saying that they're completely dumb and whatnot. I think it was a fun little car to drive, I will tell you that. And I was like this close to buying one. But I'm glad at the end of the day that I bought the GTR, because it's like almost guaranteed that every time I go down the road, I may see one out of every, I don't know, 300 times that I drive it, if I'm not going to like a Cars and Coffee event where I might see one other one. But those are my thoughts and opinions on the Tesla Roadster 2.0 and my thoughts on electric vehicles. Again, if you want to join the conversation, comment down below. And if you want to join this journey with me on my automotive YouTube channel, Dual Spool RDU, go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and we will continue on. And I hope to engage with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.